Good morning, everyone. Welcome to The Wake, and thank you for waking up with me this morning. It has been a roller coaster of a week in the cruise industry, and we have so much to discuss today on the show. But before we do that, I just want to thank everyone for being here, and I definitely want to just give a little recap of what we're doing. This is new to our channel. This is only the second time that we have done this. But the Wake Cruise News Talk Show is all about, we talk all things cruising. We talk cruise news, we talk tips. We've been talking Omicron because that has just been really putting a glitch in a lot of people's cruise plans. And unfortunately, we got even more news that it is affecting more cruises and more cruises are getting canceled. So we're going to talk about all of that and address all of these things today in the next hour. But I did want to start off by thanking all of our followers who have reached out to us this week. If you missed it and if you don't know, Jared did come down with COVID earlier last week, or later last week. I guess it was towards the end of the week. It was very sad. It was the day before our anniversary. He tested positive, and he became quite symptomatic. It stayed pretty mild, but he definitely experienced a high fever. He had a runny nose, a scratchy throat, a lot of body aches, and quite a few headaches. And it lasted him for about 4 days. We got this new CDC number going around, this whole 5-day thing. By day 5, he was actually feeling good, and he was starting to come around the bend. Today, he's doing a lot better, and he wanted me to personally thank everyone, and I wanted to thank everybody because between him and I think our inboxes have been overflowing the last week with just encouraging messages, people wishing him well and wishing him onto the road of a very speedy recovery. So thank you very much to everyone that has reached out. I'm very thankful that he is getting better. Up until this point, I am still testing negative. Now we did separate once he tested positive, and we have a two-level house. So I stayed in the basement, he stayed upstairs. But yeah, we are very confused how I have not gotten it yet. And I know that I am not out of the woods. I could definitely still come down with it and test positive. Jared's now in the second part of this like isolation period. The CDC is saying for the first 5 days, stay completely quarantined. For the next 5 days, wear a mask. So we're slowly starting to reintroduce ourselves to each other. But of course, with masks, we're still staying a healthy 6 feet away, sleeping in different bedrooms. But I am very, very happy that he's feeling better. We did have to cancel our Navigator of the Seas cruise. We are so sad about that because if you joined the program last week, you know that we canceled 2 other cruises to make sure that we could get on Navigator of the Seas. We were just really excited about that itinerary. We were excited to get on that ship. It's one of our favorite ships. We've been on Navigator, I think, 3 times already, but we love Navigator of the Seas. However, thank goodness that we did cancel these other cruises because we were supposed to be on Celebrity Millennium last weekend. That's when Jared tested positive for COVID. So if, by some chance he would have tested negative, we would have gotten on that ship and he would immediately have started to feel sick. He tested positive. I tested negative. We would have been separated and quarantined on the ship because that's how they're doing things. If not all of your party tests positive, they put you in different isolation cabins. So we would have been apart in 2 small cabins on a cruise ship for our anniversary. And we are really thankful that we did not go on that trip. We would have been just fine, but I can say for 100% certainty that Jared was much more comfortable here at home. And so was I, because I was actually able to cook him food and take care of him. So that's the update in terms of what is going on over here in our neck of the woods. I got to get a sip of coffee in because, like I said, it's been a roller coaster. And we have so much to discuss. I want to jump right into some breaking news today. Norwegian Cruise Line has canceled a lot of cruises over the next 8 weeks and even beyond. There's some cruises canceled into March and April. But I do just want to share with you that Norwegian has canceled sailings on the Pearl, Dawn, Getaway, Escape, Joy, Sky, Pride of America, Jade, Star, Sun, and Spirit. And we have those dates down below in the description. So if you have questions in terms of how long those cruises have been canceled for, those are all down below. Of course, this is in addition to the 4 Royal Caribbean ships that we saw get canceled earlier in the week, and we had put a video out about that. Those dates are down there as well, but that is Vision, Serenade, Jewel, and Symphony. Of course, our thoughts and prayers and our hearts go out to all of the crew. I know that on all of these ships, there are a lot of crew that have come down with COVID, and we are just sending you all of our thoughts and prayers and healing vibes your way to make sure that you can get through this. We are with you. We stand with you, and we cannot wait for these ships to come back. If you have had a cruise cancellation, I am so sorry. I hate that you are now a part of the canceled cruise club. We have been here for a long time. Welcome in. There's a lot of people in this room. And I don't make light of it. It stinks when you only have one trip per year and that gets canceled. It is definitely a huge bummer. And I know how that feels. Thankfully, a lot of the cruise lines are giving pretty good future cruise credits or refund options. The Norwegian ships that are actually still sailing, ships like the Encore and the Bliss, just came out today and said, they're not exactly sure in terms of ports what's going to end up getting canceled the next few weeks. So if you are getting on the Encore or Bliss, I know we have some JJ crew that's going to be on the Encore in February. Just know that if you get a canceled port, they're going to refund you, give you a partial refund for the cruise in terms of, probably the port fees that you're missing there. Not all the cruise lines have been super friendly to do that. So Norwegian's really great that they've come out and already said that. Know that if you are going on a Norwegian ship, they're going to take care of you. And of course they are. They're Norwegian. They do a great job with their guests. All right, let's move into hot topics. This is a segment where I discuss some new, hot, and exciting or controversial things going on in the industry. And I want to kick it off today by staying on the topic of Norwegian Cruise Line, because Norwegian Cruise Line just released a huge announcement. They have officially named their newest ship Ncl Viva. I love this name. So this is going to be the second ship in the Prima class. So you have the Norwegian Prima coming out, and then you're now going to have the Ncl Viva. I think it's such a fun name. What do we know about this? Here's what we know so far. We know that it is going to sail out of Europe in 2023. Looking at that month of June is the target date for its maiden voyage. It will be doing summers in Europe. And then here's what's really cool. It's going to come over in home port in San Juan, Puerto Rico. I think this is a big deal. And here's why. This is going to be the largest ship to ever home port in San Juan. So, there's been other ships, like we sailed on Vision of the Seas and Freedom of the Seas, both of which have home ported in San Juan, Puerto Rico. But Viva is going to be bigger, and that will be where it will be doing cruises out of, which I think is awesome. If you've ever sailed out of San Juan, you already know, if you've watched our channel, that we love San Juan and we love that port. But if you've ever sailed out of San Juan, it's extra special because it gives you more time in Puerto Rico. You typically have to fly in the day before. You can have a fun night out in San Juan, Puerto Rico, potentially add on a couple of days to your cruise afterwards and really enjoy the island. It is one of the most unique and culturally filled islands in the Caribbean. So I think this is really cool. We're really excited to find out more about Ncl Viva. They did say this class of ship, I think, is going to be very similar. So all of these different ships are going to have kind of the same feel to them, which Norwegian has done that on other cruise lines like the Jewel class. But they will have different and exciting itineraries. They will be home porting out of different places. And it's a brand new ship. And we love a new ship here on The Wake. So that's all your information about Viva. I want to turn the tables here, and I want to talk a little bit about chartered cruises. This is hot topic number 2 for today. I'm going to sip out of my hot coffee here because this is a little bit could be controversial. Now, if you've ever heard of a group called Atlantis, no, I am not referring to the Atlantis Resort in the Bahamas. It's an amazing place. I am referring to Atlantis Chartered Cruisers. Now, Atlantis is a group that charters cruises specifically for the LGBTQ plus community. So that is kind of what chartered cruise. If you don't know what a chartered cruise is a group that purchases basically an entire sailing. So they buy all of the cabins and then they go on their own to sell those cabins out and take a group out to sea. Chartered cruisers can be things like concerts. There's blues cruises that happen at sea. Norwegian does a lot of these different types of concerts, like concert cruises like rock and roll. I've seen an Elvis cruise, a Beach Boys cruise. These cruises are often amazing and a lot of fun. And Atlantis, again, they have their group of people, the LGBTQ community, that they charter a ship out for, and they typically go every year. Now, during the pandemic, they had to cancel one of their cruises because obviously nobody was cruising at that time, right? Next week, they're getting ready to take their 30th anniversary cruise. And this is why I wanted to talk about chartered cruises, because on a chartered cruise, it is difficult to socially distance. It is much harder to socially distance on a chartered cruise than it is on a regular cruise. And why is that? Because you have these large group activities, concerts, shows, parties, and this is chartered cruises across the board. I'm not just picking on Atlantis here. I'm just using them as an example because they have a cruise coming up next week. So my question is, should chartered cruises be happening right now? That's one. And two, more importantly, is a chartered cruise the best thing for cruise line crew during this time? Because it is so much more difficult for for passengers to socially distance and for people to take a step back and say, you know what, I'm going to sit in my little corner of the pool deck over here and I'm going to enjoy, the cruise just by myself or with my party. That's not the point of a chartered cruise. The point of a chartered cruise is to get together with large groups of people and party hard. So I put this question out there just because I personally feel like I'm not sure if chartered cruises are the best things to be happening right now, specifically for your crew. What we have seen is cancellation after cancellation because of sick crew members. And some, there's some ships where there's a large amount of crew that are coming down with COVID, and there's not enough people to fill places. Now, Jared and I didn't specifically experience this with COVID, but at the very beginning of COVID, we were on a ship that was sold at 100%. We were sailing 100% capacity. There was like 4,000 or 5,000 people on board. COVID had just become a thing, and this cruise line, they canceled all of the contracts for anyone from China on board and removed those people from the ship. The staff on the ship was down to 60%. So you had a ship at full capacity, staff at 60%. I spent the entire cruise just feeling bad for the crew because they just could not keep up. And I worry that on chartered cruises, that's going to be the exact same type of thing. Or for cruises that come after that. The specific charter cruise that we're talking about is happening on Oasis of the Seas. Again, I do not want to dog on Atlantis Cruises. I think they throw incredibly fun cruises, and it's a cruise group that Jared and I want to cruise with at some point in the future. We've always wanted to. We thought it would be a blast. In the surge of Omicron, it is just such a tough topic and such a tough thing because these chartered cruises aren't necessarily going to follow the protocols that standard cruise lines are following. And that can make things tricky. Now, I do know because I've got some friends that are going to be on this sailing here in the next couple of weeks. They are requiring masks. They are going to be doing things differently. They've already had ports of call canceled on them. So I know that the cruise is not going to do what I think this charter cruise isn't going to be a normal charter cruise. So kudos to Atlantis if they are taking those steps, doing the extra preventative things to make sure that people are safe. I would love to see the cruise line step in and kind of make these same mandates that they're having for their regular cruisers for chartered cruises too. I think that would be, I don't know. I think that would be in the best interest of their crew. Again, we're talking about the crew here because the crew are our friends. We're going to talk about an amazing crew member here later on in the show, but we want to look out for them. We want to look out for our friends at sea. And I know most people who love cruises and people that go on a lot of cruises, you have your favorites out there on the ships that you love. I know Jared and I do. And we just always want to make sure we're taking care of them. That is it for Hot Topics today. All right, let's move on to some news. And again, if you're new here, we call this segment, Hey Captain, What's Happening? The CDC and the Senate met to discuss the conditional sailing order yesterday. Now, if you have not been following this, the conditional sailing order is basically the set of rules and protocols that the CDC have put in place to ensure that cruise lines are keeping things safe at sea. Now, we have seen the media, we have seen certain senators call cruise lines floating petri dishes, and it could not make me more angry. I'm going to give you a couple examples of what the media has done this last week. It's honestly been ridiculous, and it's made as someone who considers himself a cruise reporter, especially in this show, it's made my job incredibly difficult because certain news outlets that I get my information from are not telling the whole story. They are cherry picking negative things that people say about the cruise industry, regurgitating them into articles, and making this so messy for the cruise lines. And it is ridiculous, and honestly, it's unexcusable. They should be telling us the truth and telling us the whole story. I'm going to give you an example here. Now, again, if you've been following the conditional sail order, again, this has been the set of mandates and rules that the cruise lines have needed to follow since the beginning of the pandemic. Well, that is set to expire here in just a few days, at the end of this week, actually. It's set to expire on January 15th, and they meant to discuss a number of things yesterday, but cruising, of course, came up. Senator Lisa Mikowski is the senator from Alaska that has been the biggest advocate for the cruise line industry. And if she has to be, because her state relies on tourism and specifically the cruise industry to keep going. Alaska was hurt. And honestly, I think we can use the word devastated here by the effects of the cruise closures in 2020. They lost an entire season of cruising. So I want to just play a little clip here. This is of Senator Lisa Murkowski and the director of the CDC kind of going back and forth. I find it very interesting what the director of the CDC says. And then I'm going to share with you what certain news outlets took from this and what they reported on. So let's listen to this here. We're old school. I'm going to be holding this up to the mic. I did do a test earlier, so you should be able to hear it.
Dr. Walensky, this is a question for you. And you and I have had many conversations last year about the specific impact of conditional sail orders as it relates to the cruise industry. That industry was effectively shut down for all of 2020, and we were able to salvage a bit of it as things relaxed last year. But in fairness, the industry itself has undertaken extraordinary precautions as one industry to make sure that people are protected from this virus. So the question to you is, I want to make sure that Alaskan communities and businesses can have a season this coming year. And right now, people are making their decisions as to whether or not to book a trip to Alaska for the summer or not. I understand the conditional sail order is set to expire in a few days in recognition that the companies have practices that adhere to or even exceed the guidance in the order. So I guess I'd like some assurance from you that they can count on that this is clear guidance and messaging to those within the industries and to those who are counting on being able to have a season this coming summer.
Yeah, thank you, Senator. And I think the conditional sales order and the fact that the industry has stepped up and is now interested in doing and exceeding, as you know, the compliance with the sale order without the order even necessarily needing to be in place is a real testimony to how well that has worked and how we've worked collaboratively with the industry. What I can say is that, just over the last 2 weeks with Omicron, we've seen a 30-fold increase in cases on ships during this season because of Omicron. So while I anticipate that with ships following conditional sail order, we still will continue to do the oversight and watch and do all the technical assistance and support in every single way. We anticipate that this order will not be renewed and that the cruise ship industries will continue to understand that this is a really safe practice for those industries. What I can't predict is what the summer will bring.
Understand that, but for right now, you expect this guidance to stay in place.
That's my anticipation.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Thank you.
Okay, so she basically praised this. The director of the CDC basically praised the industry for going above and beyond and doing the right things, and said that they are trusting that the cruise industry is going to continue to do the right things, so they don't necessarily see the need to extend this conditional sailing order. They, of course, believe that what they put in place and their plan is the best thing for keeping people safe. However, you just heard what she said. And also, I want to give a shout out to our friends over at Royal Caribbean Blog. They also reported on this and gave the full picture. But news article after news article broke last night and this morning saying things like the CDC slams the cruise line industry, saying that they have cases on board have grown 30-fold. And yes, they did say that. But guess what was not said in any single article that I read from mainstream media? No one said that the CDC director gave a nod to the cruise line industry and said that they have been doing a good job and going above and beyond to keep people safe. This gets my blood boiling because it's not fair, and it is not fair journalism. And it really, really frustrates me because when it comes to the cruise industry, the cruise line industry affects millions and millions of people all around the world. And it feels extremely selfish to all of those people to not give them the full picture. The reason that people hate on the cruise industry and feel like the cruise industry is this terrible, terrible industry that is hurting the planet and is doing all of this bad is because of unfair reporting and unfair journalism. I guess I should have put this in the hot topic because clearly I'm a little opinionated about this morning. But it is very frustrating because those of us out here that are advocates for the cruise line industry, we just are asking that you share the whole story. So if you work for a news outlet, can you help us out? Throw us a bone over here, give us some fair reporting, and share the whole picture. Because honestly, it is only fair that we do that. All right. I'm going to step off of my box. I want to talk about when is a good time if you are going to cancel your cruise. Obviously, I had talked last week about Jared and I having to cancel our cruise. Now, if you go to cancel your cruise, you always have to look at your timeline. You need to specifically pay attention to your final payment because often after your final payment, you are not going to be able to receive a refund for anything. Post final payment, a lot of the cruise lines are giving you very flexible vouchers and future cruise credits to use. However, they're not giving you cash money back. If you are thinking maybe I shouldn't cruise right now, or maybe I should, or you're kind of indifferent and you don't mind having a future cruise credit, I wanted to share this tip. I would not actually cancel your cruise, and I would wait on the cruise line to cancel you. If you think that your cruise may not go for whatever reason, or you think that the cruise line is in jeopardy, if you wait and have the cruise line cancel on you, you're going to get a larger lump sum of a future cruise credit, more than likely. A lot of the cruise lines are doing this. Jared and I made this terrible, terrible mistake with a cruise that we had to end up canceling in the month of February. That is now canceled. We canceled it within final payment. We took a standard future cruise credit for 100% of the fare. And now that cruise line is offering more in terms of future cruise credits. And we lost out on about $500 that we could have had an additional future cruise credit if we just would have waited for the cruise line to cancel on us. That is why I am sharing this, because if you're past final payment anyways, you might as well see what happens with the cruise line. But of course, a lot of them have a certain time frame that after, like Royal Caribbean, for example, after 48 hours, that 48-hour window between sailing, you cannot cancel in that 48 hours and get a future cruise credit. You're going to lose out on your money. So just keep that into mind if you're thinking about canceling any cruises. If the cruise line cancels on you, they might give you a little bit more. It was a very, very sad thing that we missed out on that extra $500. Jared was pretty upset. I was too, let's be honest. Okay, let's also just jump into another topic here. And if you watched my video yesterday, we shared this in our cruise news yesterday. Will boosters start being required at port? Now, I really appreciate the 100+ of you that jumped into the comments section and had a really healthy and good discussion about this. A lot of people shared a lot of different really, really wonderful thoughts. Yesterday in my cruise news segment, if you missed it, I shared that the city of San Francisco is now requiring any cruise lines that sail into the city to have a 100% boostered up voyage for people that are eligible. Now, I just put the question out there, are we gonna start to see the booster requirement pop up at other ports, especially these ports that are canceling on people and not letting ships come in? I used the example back in 2021, initially people 18 and up had to be vaccinated. Then the Bahamas came in and they said, no, if you're coming to our island, you have to be vaccinated if you are 12 and up. And that dramatically changed the cruise line. Now, thankfully, San Francisco is not this massive cruise destination and cruise port. Since the cruise restart, there's only been 22 ships total that have stopped in San Francisco. So it's not like this is affecting a large amount of cruises. I believe Princess is one of the main cruise lines that's doing West Coast cruises right now up and down California. So if you're on one of those cruises, this is definitely going to impact your sailing, and you are going to want to make sure that you get that booster. Again, watch your timeline here, because someone pointed out in the comments a great point. There is a time that you cannot get your booster, and that is if you get your initial, full vaccine, you get your second shot, you have to wait a certain amount of time then to get your booster shot. So look at your timing, look at your cruising, watch for all of these different changing mandates from the cruise lines, because again, it could impact your cruise. And if you can't get the booster, then that's the cruise line canceling on you, and maybe they will give you something extra. See how I tied all that in there? Okay, it is time now for this week's money saving tip. Now, this is a tip that is a little bit more common. There may be some people out there that know about this, but I know for a fact there are people that do not know that you can do this. And that is because I had this conversation with someone this week. Did you know, with a lot of the cruise lines, if they have fluctuating prices for things like drink packages, Wi-Fi, shore excursions, if you're watching those prices go up and down, and let's say you're going on a Royal Caribbean ship and you paid $72 a day for the premium drink package, and 4 months later, you're still like a good 5 months out to your cruise. 4 months later, you see that drink package has now gone down to $52 a day, because lo and behold, there is a holiday sale happening. Or maybe it's over 4th of July and there's a 4th of July sale happening. You can call and rebook that package at the lower price. This goes for drink packages. This goes for shore excursions, spa treatments like massages, if those go on sale, Wi-Fi packages, photo packages, anything that you would purchase in your online account. If those prices go down at all, call and rebook them, because it's totally legit to do so. And if you're not doing it, you're going to be missing out on some extra cash for your vacation. Now, of course, there are cruise lines like Carnival and Disney, for example, that have set prices for things like specialty dining. Disney doesn't do a drink package, but the photo package for Disney is a big one. Typically, those prices are pretty locked in. Carnival is the same way. Their drink package is going to be standard. It's always going to be I think it's like $69 per day that it is for their Cheers beverage package. But for Royal Caribbean ships and for some other cruise lines, just look to see if those prices ever go down, and definitely rebook. I cannot tell you how much money Jared and I have saved by doing this. We actually took our friends on a cruise in September, and we got the specialty dining package before we went. I think we just did like 3 nights. And right before our cruise, there was some big sale and it jumped down almost $50 in price. So what do? We hopped on the phone with Royal Caribbean. We called in, we canceled that package, and we rebooked for the lower price. Absolutely a great money-saving tip for your cruise vacation. And it is something, if you're going to buy any type of package, you're going to want to watch for sales. Now, you can find this typically by logging into your cruise planner online. So if you log into your Royal Caribbean account, you'll be able to see all of the different options that they have. And if there is a sale, you'll see that price slashed out with the new price below hand. Keep your receipts, know what you paid, and be prepared to get on the phone with Royal Caribbean to rebook that package. It does happen more than you think. All right, we're going to get into a little tips segment here, and I want to be careful about how I talk about this, because we know that Omicron is serious, right? It is a new strain that is causing a lot of people to get sick. It obviously hit our household, and Jared came down with it. But if you are comfortable traveling, or if you are traveling on a cruise ship in the next 90 days and you're able to stay healthy, what are some ways you can take advantage of pandemic travel right now? These are my 4 tips for taking advantage of what's happening in the cruise industry right now, because there's quite a bit going on. And I want you to hear these, especially if you are traveling in January, February, or March. Number 1, if you've booked this a while ago, look at the cost that you paid for your room and consider upgrading to a different stateroom category. And that is because prices on these cruises have come down so low that, let's say you are in an ocean view room. You know, let's say you paid $1,500 to go on a ship and you're in an ocean view room. And you did that a year ago. You booked this a year ago, you used some future cruise credits. Now you get online and you see a balcony stateroom is $1,510. And yes, I did see this yesterday. You're going to want to get on the phone with the cruise line or with your travel agent, and you're going to want to say, hey, I would like to upgrade my stateroom and I'd like to now be in a balcony because it's only $10 more, more money. Take advantage of this. Also, you can always check about room upgrades once you get on the ship. There's a lot of people having to cancel their cruise right now, and there are a lot of open staterooms on the ship. I don't know if you knew this, and this is a little extra tip. You're able to get on the ship and go right to guest services and put your name on a list for a room upgrade. Sometimes they'll sell it to you. Sometimes they'll give it to you for free. I can never guarantee. Every cruise line is different, and we've had several varying experiences. As like we've gotten bumped up, like from a neighborhood balcony on Symphony of the Seas to an ocean view balcony on Symphony of the Seas, and we've also gotten the offer, to pay X amount of dollars to move from this room to the next category up. So consider upgrading your room. It's definitely something that is more possible right now than it ever will be. Number 2, this goes right along with my tip. Go back and check your package prices. And if they've gone down lower, rebook them. I've already talked a lot about that, but that falls into this category here of taking advantage of travel during this time. Number 3, I encourage you to invest your money into on-board experiences right now. If you are someone that has always wanted to get a massage on a cruise ship, or you're like me and you got a facial on a cruise ship once, and now you have to basically get one every single time you step on a ship. I'm just kidding. I've only gotten one once, but it was the best experience of my life. It's time to do that. And I say that because you have a lot of ports canceling right now. You have a lot of shore excursions canceling right now. I would never, ever encourage someone to go book a massage over take a shore excursion. But in the next 3 months, if you're traveling, I think that it's a good idea. And I say that because a lot of off-board experiences are getting canceled. A lot of ports are getting skipped. So do something for you that is going to make you excited and keep you engaged in this travel and this trip. Have a you day and do something on board that's going to be fun. Maybe take yourself to a specialty restaurant if you've never eaten at a specialty restaurant before. There are some amazing ones right now. If you're going on an Oasis class ship, try 150 Central Park. You will not be disappointed. I guarantee. It is one of my favorite restaurants, period, in the world. But that's what I would say. Invest in those onboard experiences because those are less likely to get canceled, and those are more likely for you to be able to ensure that you're going to be able to do that, have a great time, and continue enjoying your vacation. And number 4, if you are comfortable sailing right now, specifically in February and March, there are some of the least costly cruises I have ever seen in the history of cruising right now across all cruise lines. I'm going to share a couple in our Oh Ship That's Cheap segment here coming up. However, some of the cruises in February and March are mind-blowingly inexpensive. The value that we're talking here is unmatched. You're not going to get a vacation like this at this price probably any other time. So if you can cruise right now, and you feel comfortable doing so specifically, again, we're talking February, March timeframe here, feel free to reach out to us. I'm happy to share different itineraries that I have specifically noticed. I have a running list of them, but email me down at jordan@lovelandandsea.com, and I'm happy to hook you up with one of those sailings. They are, again, so inexpensive, and the value is amazing. This also goes for flight and hotel packages. Flight and hotel packages are at some of the lowest cost I've ever seen them. Of course, if you're working with a TA, those can always be bundled. If you're not working with a TA, you can go online and do all of that research yourself. But some hotel and flight packages are at an all-time low as well. So it's great because for most people to get to the cruise, you have to have a flight, hotel, and a cruise, and you can typically bundle all of those together at an unbelievably low price. It is time now for the crew of the week. I'm going to take another quick sip of coffee here. If you have your coffee, cheers and good morning. I know I have kind of gone really fast here through a lot of this news. It's because we have so much going on, and this is my second cup. I probably should save and only have my one cup during the show so that I'm like a little bit more calm. But let's go ahead and let's get into the crew of the week. The crew of the week comes from JJ Cruise member Tinkerbell, good friend of the channel. Tinkerbell, thank you so much for sharing this crew of the crew of the week in the crew spotlight. The crew spotlight this week goes to Collis from Mardi Gras in guest services. Now, this is what's so cool about this crew member. We actually met Collis, and he helped us when we were on the Mardi Gras. And I love what Tinkerbell said. I'm just going to read a couple of sentences here for you. Tinkerbell, this is a direct quote from her email to me. When I embarked on my cruise back in August, I had an issue with a shore excursion. Collis jumped in and helped. He made sure that our cruise was so memorable for us. He also had a JJ Cruise wristband. Ever since, we've been friends. Yes, and Collis is an incredible member of the JJ crew and follower of the channel. And we love that. We love our crew friends. And I can second this one because I have met this crew member, and he is so helpful and goes above and beyond. So if you're going on Mardi Gras anytime soon, definitely say hello to Collis and make sure that he knows he was shouted out on the Wake Talk show, and tell him to go check this program out. Collis, thank you for all of your work in the industry. And we want to just give a sincere thank you for making our vacations better. Okay, let's get into the inexpensive cruises of the week. I have two cruises to share with you here. Both of these are incredibly low prices. Now, remember, when I talked about sailing in February or March, both of these fall in the month of March, which is also shocking because typically that falls over a lot of spring breaks. So in the month of March, we often see these prices for cruises skyrocket, and just, they become so incredibly pricey. But these two cruises, I think, are phenomenal deals. And again, I just want to focus on the value here. Keep in mind, when you go on a cruise, you have things like all of your meals included, you have entertainment, you have a lot of activities, you have endless pools and hot tubs. If you're a hot tub person, excuse me. And the first one of these, I'm going to actually call this one my runner-up because I have one that isn't just an unbelievable deal. The first one, let's call it the runner-up, also a phenomenal deal, is Symphony of the Seas. Now, currently, Symphony of the Seas is the largest cruise ship in the world that is carrying passengers. We all know that Wonder of the Seas is coming, and Wonder of the Seas will be sailing by the time this sails. So you will be sailing on the second largest cruise ship at sea. A lot of you come for me in the comments whenever I say Symphony of the Seas is the largest at sea. Wonder is the largest. Symphony is still the largest carrying passengers, okay? All right, so Symphony of the Seas, price for two is $1,698.72. Now, this is for a guaranteed balcony. What is a guaranteed neighborhood balcony? Let me explain what a guaranteed neighborhood balcony is. On these large Oasis class ships, you have neighborhoods. So you've got like Central Park and the Boardwalk, for example. Both of these areas have balconies that overlook the middle of the ship. So you would be put either on the Boardwalk section or the Central Park section of the ship for a 7-night cruise to Western Caribbean. Now, of course, I did not write the date down. I believe it is the last week of March. I have my producer helping me out. If he wants to throw this in the comments for the date, I think it's the last week of March. The next one, I wrote the date down, of course. But for this one, I didn't. So again, 1,698.72 last week of March, 7-night going to Western Caribbean for a neighborhood balcony guarantee. $1,698.72 for 2 people. That is a phenomenal deal considering everything that Symphony has to offer. We sailed on Symphony of the Seas twice. If you watched our video in terms of we awarded a lot of different things for our 100 Nights at Sea in 2021, Symphony of the Seas has some of the best service across any ship. Their food and beverage staff is phenomenal and went above and beyond for us that week. You don't get that kind of service for this price in general, let alone the shows, let alone the food, the activities. I mean, Symphony of the Seas is completely endless. Thank you very much. March 26th is the date. Really appreciate my producer here hanging out in the comments with us today. So March 26th for this Symphony of the Seas sailing. All right, drum roll, please. Now for this price is just unbelievable. This is the finalist, not the finalist. This is the final. This is the winner. This is the winner of the week. This cruise is aboard the Majestic Princess going out of Los Angeles on March 5th. It is a 7-night Mexican Riviera cruise. Now, Princess is doing something very similar to Celebrity. They are offering, an all-inclusive package, which means that you get your drinks, Wi-Fi, and gratuities included. So really, when you pay for that, that cruise and you pay for this price, you get all of those things included. The value here is unbelievable. I'm going to share the price with everything included and without everything included. And my mind is still blown about this. So again, Majestic Princess, 7-night Mexican Riviera cruise out of Los Angeles on March 5th. To go for 2 people in a balcony stateroom, all included, drinks, Wi-Fi, gratuity, $1,848. 2 people, all included in a balcony, $1,848. But hold on. Let's say, Jordan, I do not want to partake in that program. I do not want beverages and Wi-Fi included. I want to disconnect and I want to get away from everyone. Well, boy, do I have a price for you. To sail on this cruise in a balcony cabin and not have those things included. So this is just going to be your standard, dining, entertainment, activities, your balcony stateroom, $1,186 for 2. Let me repeat, $1,186 for 2. Now, yes, you have to be able to sail soon. This leaves on March 5th. But holy moly, that is so inexpensive. I was blown away when I saw this price online last night because this is just an incredible price. Now, we already had a couple of people book cruises from this segment from last week, headed out on the Allure at an unbelievable price. If you would like help booking these prices on these cruises, feel free to email me in the link below. Jordan@lovelandandsea.com. I would be more than happy to book you on these. I do want to just put this disclaimer out there because I definitely have talked to a few people this week about cruises. These prices are fluctuating like unbelievably quick. So prices are going up and down in the same day. I've had someone email me for a quote and then I email them back. And by the time they get back to me, just within a matter of a couple of hours, very reasonable time, the price has gone up. So if you are interested in getting on any of these, I would be more than happy to put a hold on a room for you while you think about it. And yeah, let's go sailing because these prices are unreal. Unreal. Okay, now it is time for the roll call. This is the segment, this is the part of the show where we share a funny or insightful post from a roll call page. I'm going to remind everyone what a roll call page is. If you don't know what a roll call page is, on Facebook or on the Cruise Critic website, thank you, somebody corrected me last week, you're going to have groups for your cruise. So let's say you're going on, I don't know, Jewel of the Seas on August 8th, 2022. That's not a real sailing. I just threw that date out there. You can type that into Cruise Critic or on Facebook, search that date. Typically a page will pop up. And that will be a roll call page where all the other people going on your sailing are going to be. They're going to chat about tips and tricks, and they're going to share when there's a sale happening, for example, on a beverage package. You're going to have a lot of different conversations going on. So I have asked people to send me funny or insightful things that they have found in their roll call page. Now, before I share this, which is the best, this is the best. This roll call post is the best. If you have anything you want to share with me in terms of a crew spotlight or something funny or insightful from your roll call page, feel free to email me at our email below. There's two emails. One is for the travel, if you're interested in using me as your travel agent, and then one is for the talk show. So for crew spotlight and for roll call emails, please email the talk show email. I'm looking at this and laughing because this is too good. All right. This came in from an anonymous person this week. They did not want to be shared. Here was the post that came in from a Facebook group. Here's a tip for you. Always stand up when you flush the toilet in your stateroom. I didn't, and I got suction cupped down to the bowl. My husband had to come and pry me off. Most embarrassing moment of my life. I'm so sorry. If you're watching, whoever this is, I got a really good laugh out of this. And thank you so much for sharing your traumatic experience. Please be careful on cruise ship bathrooms, especially if you're sitting down on the toilet. Just please be careful. Because apparently you can get suction cupped to the toilet bowl and have to have someone come and help you off the pot. So anyways, if you have something that you would like to share with me in terms of something funny or insightful that you saw into your roll call, we've shared a couple of funny ones, but again, if you have something insightful, so if someone shares a great tip in the roll call page, or there's just something that you think is good enough to get shared on the program, please email me below. We definitely want to hear from you, and we would love to get a lot more of these. I can't stop. Oh, the mental images I have in my head. It's so funny. Okay, I want to take some time to just share. I want to shout out and give some thank yous here. We had some super chats during the program today. Thank you so much to Desiree Hall for the rainbow super sticker. Thank you to Trish. Oh my goodness, the heart hands. Trish sent in a $20 super sticker. Thank you so much, Trish, for that. Darla B sent in a $10 super chat. Thank you for this content. You are so welcome. And thank you very much for that super sticker or that super chat. Jack Southwick sent in a $5 super chat. Great show, great information, great news. Keep up the awesome work. Get well fast too, Jared. Thank you so much, Jack. And Angela Norton sent in a $20 super chat for a bottle of your favorite wine to celebrate your anniversary. Angela, thank you so much for that. We do have to have a redo of our anniversary because we weren't together. Jared went live here from the living room. I was down in the basement, and we did not get to be together. So, Angela, we will definitely put that towards a good bottle to split, and we really, really appreciate that. We have a couple of questions here that I want to get to. Mike C. asked a question. He said, I see Norwegian canceled more cruises for January. Why not Royal Caribbean? So, Mike, my understanding is that these cruises are getting canceled based on numbers that they're seeing on ships of cases, whether that be crew or whether that be passengers. The 4 Royal Caribbean ships, had a much higher amount of COVID cases on board. And for example, they were taking their crew off and quarantining them on Vision of the Seas and Rhapsody of the Seas, 2 of the ships that currently were not in service. Vision was supposed to come back and be doing South America itineraries in February. However, they are now using that ship basically as a quarantine ship. Someone sent a tip into the show, and this is not fact. This is just kind of a little tip, but someone said that they watched over 100 crew get offloaded on their ship when they were on their sailing at Coco Key. If that's the case, a cruise ship down 100 crew is a significant amount of crew that are not able to work, and that could directly be impacting the cruises. So I'm sure it has to do with numbers. Norwegian and Royal are, of course, separate companies, but they do share the same individual that was helping them create some healthy protocol rules on their ships. They've gone about these two very different ways. Norwegian has been much more slow to come back, has been much more fast to cancel ships. Royal Caribbean, I think, it came back a lot quicker and has been a little bit more reluctant to cancel. So while I don't have the perfect answer, I would imagine that they're doing the math, they're crunching the numbers, and they're realizing where they have enough people that can work and not have enough people that can work currently aboard their ships. Marcy Newber says, hello from Florida. Just wanted to say I love these broadcasts. Great information. Thank you so much, Marcy, for that. Oh my goodness. And Rob O sent in a $5 super chat. Love the new show, Jordan. Rob, thank you very, very much. My producer sends me these things on my phone as I'm sitting here. So that's why, some of them come in a little bit later than the others. But thank you, Rob, for that super chat. We have a question here from Beth. Hello, love the wake. Question: can I be denied from disembarking the ship when I take my transatlantic cruise from New York City to England? Beth, that is a very interesting question. My gut would tell me no. However, the conditional sailing order, which I know is going away, but there's this hope that cruise lines will still kind of be adhering to what it says, does say that if there is some sort of extreme outbreak on a ship, there is always the chance that that ship could choose to quarantine the ship offshore versus unloading passengers. Now, we have not seen that happen much in the last 2 years. However, you just have to know traveling right now, anything could happen. Obviously, if the voyage you're going on is fully vaccinated, you should feel pretty good that on most ships, positive cases have stayed under 1%. Here in our county, positive case rates are 35%. So that just gives you a little bit of a point of reference in terms of how low the numbers really are on cruise ships. I know you heard that big scary number this last week that there's been 5,000 reported cases the last a couple of weeks of December aboard ships. You have to understand how many cruise ships are running right now and how many people are cruise traveling. Not as many as normal, but there are still thousands and thousands and thousands of people. So the fact that there's under 1% of people on cruise ships testing positive is still a really encouraging number. And I would still feel personally safe to take my transatlantic cruise. Emma Cruzes just joined at the toilet comment. Emma Cruzes, thank you so much for being here this morning. I'm glad you caught that little toilet comment. It was a funny time to join the show, but welcome in Emma Cruzes. It's good to see Robbo from the Guga and Rob channel as well. I know Q's Cruisers was here in the chat earlier. I apologize. I'm not watching the chats actively, but if you are a content creator, we are so thankful that you stopped by the show today. Thank you for being here. Okay, so that wraps up the show for today. Thank you to everyone that came in and joined. This was a lot of time. This was the power hour of cruising over here in my living room. I hope you got some insightful information today. I hope that you're able to take away some of these tips and utilize them for your upcoming travel. We really appreciate you tuning in. We will be back again next Wednesday at 10 a.m. Same time, same place, different coffee cup. And we'll see you then. Ciao for now.